All right, everybody, we're going to get started. It's almost 5 minutes after the hour, so for those of you that are on the line that don't know me, my name is Bobby Middleton. I'm responsible for XchangePoint here at PharmaPoint, and we're super excited about the new release that we're going to be putting in everybody's production environment early in the morning this coming Saturday. So we're going to start the process around 2 a.m. Central Time to update everyone's production environment. We will make this presentation available to be shared to everyone. It should be posted to our YouTube channel tomorrow, but you'll also get a notification about that via email. As it relates to the agenda for today, what I'm going to quickly go through just a high-level overview of PharmaPoint and XchangePoint in general for some of the folks who will be consuming this either now or later on that aren't as familiar. So the latest news about us, and then we'll actually get into the review of the key features in the release, which we've actually got some embedded video for that today, and we'll give us a little time at the end for a Q&A session. A little bit about us, if you don't already know, we're headquartered here in Birmingham, Alabama with clients all across the country. Been growing a lot over the past few years and really work hard to really work with our existing customers and industry thought leaders on, this concept of bringing up the pharmacy services closer to the care process and making our pharmacy teams more proactive when we can. The big thing, there's a couple of slides here that I'll use to go over some of the industry challenges, really to give everyone a context of how we focus and prioritize on some of these things that we built into XchangePoint over the year. The majority of all these treatment plans that people get when they're treated are really all, majority of them are around medications, and this is kind of what you see highlighted here. More meds than ever are out available in the market, which is great because we're able to treat more complex diseases and illnesses than we ever have. But along with that comes some more complex treatments that can cause potential interactions when you're talking about the number of meds a patient may be using. Traditionally, pharmacy hasn't been as integrated into patient care as we'd like, so that's another area we focus on. And there's a growing concern, and you can see some of the impact outlined here at the bottom, the lack of adherence to the drug plan and what those impacts can be, which aren't good. Finally, then, this is the only other industry slide here that really illustrates we do have a growing population of older individuals that are on more complex drug plans, which I think heightens the sensitivity to that, and even projecting more and more of that in the years to come. Even you can see here projected as far out as 2030. And along with that, there is growing concerns on what does noncompliance mean and some of the impacts of that. You can see these called out here as it relates to adverse drug events that happen that are medication related, and going along with overall what's not, what does actual noncompliance look like for the scripts. And really what this all means for everyone is, not to mention the readmissions, extended length of stay, overall increased cost for care, but there's, obviously the negative impacts and agony and pain a patient goes through when they're planned and adhered to the right way. This picture here really illustrates why that we designed XchangePoint to have targets, which some of you guys that are familiar with the product will understand that. Not all pharmacy organizations have all the personnel that they need to go approach every patient for every type of condition or every type of situation that you want. So we try to help our customers look at, the top 25%, which are at the most risk, have the most complex drug plan, are in the most sensitive areas, whether that be a service line or a payer that you're already at risk with. How do you actually attack those so that you're making the best use of the individuals and resources that you have available? The bottom line, I kind of already illustrated this, but prescriptions meds are the largest therapeutic treatment of any disease state. Lack of adherence is a significant contributor to the failure of any of these treatment plans. And the ability to proactively identify the right patients to give these type of interventions is critical to be able to be successful in the world that we're in today. And our ability to, our belief is the more we're able to connect the pharmacy team into those places, the bigger impact can be had because of their expertise as it relates to medication. All right, and this is a little bit of a picture for those who aren't familiar with these three primary areas that we use in XchangePoint to try to drive these interventions. Pharmacy-led med history and reconciliation on admission, bedside delivery and or consultation when that's available to drive some of that activity from the outpatient pharmacy, and overall transition to care guided by the pharmacy as it relates to the medication plan. And it goes well beyond the kind of the traditional model of just generating ancillary revenue and profit to your pharmacy, but using these type of things to improve outcomes overall, whether it be those things I've already mentioned around reduced readmissions, medication errors, or the impact that you actually have to patient and provider satisfaction. When your pharmacy team is driving some of these initiatives, there's a lot more confidence in their ability to be successful driving these than a lot of the folks who do that in a more traditional sense today, meaning the nurses and the doctors. So this is a slide that I introduced our first webinar we did a few months ago. We've continued to see growth in all of these areas, but really I thought this was a good indicator for us to share with our customers on a routine basis so you kind of see overall what's happening across all of the XchangePoint base. Over 1.5 million patients processed, which is exciting. You know, lots of medication histories, bedside deliveries, consultations, transitions of care calls, and actual meds delivered. And obviously, we're most proud of those things in the middle when you can kind of see the outcomes of some of those things, whether it be med errors or the readmission rate lowering for those targeted patients. So this is some of our, you know, we've listed these before, what some of our trusted luminary healthcare systems are. I think the newest one that we added over the last few months, some of you guys have known that Beth Israel became a customer of ours several months ago. The latest one is Summa Health, which I'll highlight them a little bit later, but super excited to have them as part of the family and helping us drive continued improvement into the XchangePoint platform that will benefit all of our customers. A little bit of highlight, I won't spend a lot of time on this. Still, XchangePoint's using all those boxes in the top to drive the type of activity into the workflow that all of our customers benefit from today, using the EMR to source our patient population, using First Data Bank and others from a drug knowledge perspective to get that type of insight driven to the point of care, population and acute level medication histories and connections. The thing that we've had a lot of new activity with is some integrations that we're doing with pharmacy management systems, one specifically, one with RX30 that we're finishing up right now, doing some work right now with McKesson's Enterprise RX system on defining that scope, but an exciting thing to be able to further connect, and obviously already had some integration with Pioneer RX at many of our existing sites. Our goal there is to really tighten up the visibility of some of this activity between what's going on in the pharmacy management system from a fill perspective, and you know, as folks are out there either at the bedside or beyond driving these type of activities, they know if they've got anything pending in the pharmacy and the relative status of that. All right, so a little bit about Summa, which we wanted to talk about just a minute. John Fite, who was quoted here, is the System Director of Pharmacy Services at Summa, and I think the exciting thing that we're looking forward to with working with Summa is they really have a very strong vision that aligns well with the way we've been thinking around further integrating pharmacy into care. They have started to implement this STEP program where they have centralized pharmacists and technicians, kind of a small pod team that are dedicated to specific service lines, not only from an acute perspective, but to follow up post-discharge on certain types of patients. So it was a really great fit. for us to be able to work with SUMA on some of their strategic objectives, specifically the medication adherence and their overall population health strategy as this becomes more critical, having the pharmacy team leading some of those initiatives. So we're excited about working with John and his team. I've actually already started kicking that project off, so looking forward to what comes out of that and our partnership with them. A little bit of news-worthy topics here, and this is just to clue everyone into some of our social media channels. You'll see the latest video that came out from our CEO, Mike Playa, talking about transitions of care and pharmacy's impact there is available on our YouTube channel. The link will be available here. Lots of things that we share via our Twitter and LinkedIn channels that they'll be available. You also see a little bit that I shared with some of the healthcare technology forums around how further integrations with the EMRs can have a big impact for the industry at large. That's a lot of things we spend our time on here is working to make sure our customers aren't clicking into too many places and things like that. So hopefully what you see from us as a company overall is trying to be connected with influencers from in the market, and also sharing our insights into the industry of ways that we can make overall care delivery better, specifically to how pharmacy can interact with that. All right, so I mentioned this a little bit before. Everybody should already, especially our kind of primary contacts at all of our customer site, from a system administration perspective, have been receiving these notices over the last few weeks. We will be proactively communicating with those individuals so they know the status of the upgrade when it's complete. And like I said, I mentioned earlier, the presentation and some of these quick reference videos that we're going to use today in the webinar will be available to you, so you can share it across your organization with other users and individuals. And we're really excited about what we got here, not only because what we feel like some of these new features will be in the product that'll make everyone's lives a little bit easier, but it also makes it easier for new users to come on board with XchangePoint, which we're excited about as well. All right, so what I'm about to do here, I'm going to play this, and we may play them a couple of times, but we've got some actual demonstrations of these new features and some quick little videos that we're going to have here. And so this one is about the ability for any of our customers
to pick up your prescriptions when you leave the hospital. Memorial Hospital is the first hospital in the area to install an automated and interactive medication dispensing kiosk. Rx2Go offers patients, visitors, and staff a quick and convenient way to pick up their prescriptions without having to make an extra stop.
Thank you. Should have reminded everyone to mute. So back about this cleanup work list feature, is the primary example here is when you have some patients, for whatever reason, that it's been concluded that they may not need to be targeted for some of these interventions. They can be removed from the work list, so they're not going to be targeted for MedRec or bedside delivery. Or, which I know a lot of our customers deal with, is a patient wasn't discharged from the EMR appropriately or something like that that's no longer available, but still sitting in your work list, and you can't. There's not a patient engaged anymore for you to be able to act on, so those can be removed. So I'm going to play this video real quick, and you guys can listen and watch.
Another request we've often heard from customers was for the ability to go in and on an administrator level be able to clean up a work list so that it starts from a particular date. As you can see, this work list has many pages and goes back several months. To clean this up, the administrator selects the gear icon, Update Work List, selects the facility if necessary, the module, the work list, and then enters the date from which you want the work list to start and select Update. Then click back to the console and see that the work list is shorter due to the date selected.
Okay, so another real simple set of instructions there. Again, you guys will be able to share this along. That was our idea, to create some of these short videos so it was easy for
another request we've often heard.
So sorry, I kind of jumped ahead too quick. The next feature we have there is to add a patient, and what we mean by that, more and more of the customers that we've been working with were looking for an opportunity to manually add a patient even if they weren't in your original target population. And the best example that I could come up with that seems to be pretty synonymous across folks I talk to is a physician has a special request of the pharmacy to support one of their patients due to some unique circumstances related to their medication plan. That may be they want a pharmacist to engage with medication history review. It may mean they want a bedside consultation and or a delivery. So what we're excited about with this is as soon as one of those patients are identified, all you have to do is look it up and add it to the target list, and it follows all the workflow that you would routinely if they were already part of your target population. So it's a quick and easy way for you to dynamically add a patient into your target population. So I'll play that real quick.
One of the new features in the 6.4 release is the ability for users to add a patient to the work list. For example, a patient does not appear on the preset target, but due to special circumstances, the patient needs to be offered the bedside delivery service. Use the patient search feature to find the patient. Once located, click OK, and then the patient's profile opens. At the top right of the profile page, the user can click Add to Work List, and then click OK at the prompt for confirmation. This patient is now added to the opt-in work list, and the opt-in workflow can begin.
All right, again, pretty simple. So that's the add a patient feature, really, again, to add them to the target for opt-in. The next feature we'll go through is probably the one that's going to have the biggest impact overall, especially for existing users that aren't new to XchangePoint. We were asked, how can we streamline movement from the work list into the associated documentation step? And you all will see what I mean by that in a minute. We've created the ability, regardless of what work list you're in, when you click on that patient in the work list, it's going to take you directly into the documentation step instead of you needing to go down into the drop-down in the bottom left of the screen that you had seen traditionally. So what's exciting about this is you've got two different options. You can hover anywhere over the bar of that patient in the work list, take you down to the documentation step. If you still want to go into the patient's profile, you just click over their name, and Carrie will actually demonstrate that in the video here in a minute. But this is something we're very excited about. I think it's obviously eliminating some clicks, but certainly will make it much more streamlined operation for a lot of our technicians and pharmacists.
The single most time-saving feature in the new release has to be that users can now click anywhere on the work list line and go straight into documentation. This feature is enabled across work lists and should cut down on clicks and save valuable time. Note that clicking on the patient name will take you to their demographics, but then everything else on the line takes you straight to documentation.
So we're super excited about that, and we hope you are too. The final feature that we're going to go over here kind of gets to the point I mentioned earlier about bringing new users onto XchangePoint a little bit easier. So not only will we be doing more of what you just saw here with these short clip videos that we'll be sending out to all of our customers to use as reference material for you users, the team has actually put some what we call icon keys or hover over capabilities inside the product itself. So when people are actually in there doing their job and they see an icon that they may not be as familiar with, it'll be very easy for them to see it and an actual definition pop up and actually explain that for them. So we'll show a quick video on that one so you can kind of see how that works.
The most commonly requested new feature in the new release of XchangePoint will be the ability to hover over a color or an icon and have that color or icon's definition displayed. This can be done on the desktop with a mouse or via the iPad with your finger hovering over the icon.
All right. That was a quick, 20-some-odd minute fly-through of the new release of XchangePoint that's coming out and some of the other things that we're working on. Inside of this deck as well is some other reference materials, recent case studies that we've done, industry articles that a lot of our customers ask us about to reference different programs, whether it be some of the research that's been done on pharmacy-led med history and reconciliation or transition to care. A lot of that is included in the appendix of this set of slides that we'll make available for everyone. But that kind of summarizes the update on the release. I will stop right there and we'll leave it open for questions for a few minutes if anybody has any. Either I was really thorough or everybody's still on mute, so I'll wait for a couple more minutes. All right. If there are no more questions, we will wrap up the webinar for today, and again, we'll make this available to everyone via notices and email, but will also be available on our YouTube channel tomorrow just as a quick link to watch the video. Thanks, and I hope everybody has a great day.